Wasn't expecting the 5 Invincibles to be in Squin, and I wasn't expecting Seta to be in Squin, and this is turning out about as well as you'd have thought, and it's not looking good for our adventurers squad. Alright, how are we doing, you beautiful people? Kanzu here, bringing you episode 22 of Rise of the Holy Nation. So we are attacking Squin at the moment. We're going after the faction HQ, and it would appear that there is a lot more people in there who are a lot stronger and a lot tougher than we thought they would have been. I wasn't expecting Seta or the 5 Invincibles to be in there, supported by a whole bunch of 100 Guardians. Last time I went and took Seta down, she was hiding in Admech like an absolute coward, not on the front line. So yeah, we've just gone in and we are losing people, they're dropping quick. We're going to try and get as much damage off as we can because a lot of our guys are using katanas as their secondary weapons. So inside, and especially in this sort of close environment, we do have a big advantage over the Shek. If we go outside, the Shek will have a bigger advantage, but then again when we're inside we're fighting multiple Shek at the same time and we don't have our doggos in the fight. So once things start going a bit further south, we will pull back, hopefully create a little kill box where the doggos can go and start taking people out as they come through the door, because we cannot fight this many Shek in one go. We have some very strong characters, we have some incredibly good equipment, but we are going up against the 5 Invincibles, which have stats just about the same as GNU and Peter, who are our 2 heaviest hitters. And then they also have a whole bunch of 100 Guardians with them, and they got a lot more than 5 Invincibles. So they're called the 5 Invincibles, but there's definitely more than 5 of them. Same way they got the 100 Guardians, and there's definitely more than 100 of them. So this is going super well for us. Could be going worse, but we are knocking them down, but we are falling very quickly ourselves. Can't say this is the best situation we've been in so far. Plan has had to change a little bit. We are going to take Peter the Hermit. We're going to try and pull him back pretty much out of the town just to spread out their numbers, because we got a bunch of them aggroed onto him. 2 things that can happen from this. Firstly, we split their numbers so any of our guys that eventually get back up might actually have a fighting chance. Secondly, if we're out of the town, we've got hungry bandits, we've got dust bandits, and we've also got the dark hive around, which can pile in and fight, and a bunch of other things. And also, if we can get Peter far enough away, we can get him healed up a bit, get him back into the fight, and he's going to be able to cause a whole bunch more damage, because staying where we were, that's not going to work. Peter's very powerful, GNU's very powerful, Dexter's very powerful, but they are not able to fight that many Shek. And those 100 Guardians are rocking specialist grade armor, which is making them nigh impossible to take down, and they have toughness up in the 80s. Which is pretty impressive stats. So we're going to have to try to fight them, multiple of us against 1 or 2 of them at a time, but their cleaves are just punching straight through our armor. Everyone is running specialist or masterwork grade holy chest plates, which is going to buy them a little bit of time but not a massive amount, and then everyone's also got the EX martial arts suits, which yet again are either specialist or masterwork. So as far as dexterity goes, our dexterity, it should be higher than theirs. But we are getting picked apart, our numbers are split, we're all over the place. So it is going to be a matter of trying to get as many people out of the fight as we can, and then start some little hit and run tactics, try to work down their numbers, take the weapons off them when we can, take their medikits off them, and just slowly chip away. The setup we are using works very well in 2 situations. Either in a burst assault, we do particularly well, and then in a war of attrition, we do extremely well as well. But when it's a medium fight like this one, we struggle. Super hard do we struggle. Going in, getting the alpha damage off, we cause serious amounts of damage. We do very well like that. And then also just from the regen of Peter, GNU, Midnight and Dexter, they can stay in the fight for a long time and cause lots of damage. And it's between those 2 realms that we struggle super hard, because we don't have the longevity in a medium-sized fight, and then alternatively we don't have the sustained DPS once our guys start taking damage, because humans are super squidgy and we don't have a massive amount of them. Our adventurer squad is, I think, about 14 or 16 strong, which is a fairly small size squad. If I had any common sense, I definitely would increase the size of it. But at the moment, 14 is quite easy to manage, quite easy to equip, also simpler to keep tracks on. We just managed to take the first 100 Guardian down, and that took a long old time. They are super tough and super dangerous, and it probably isn't helpful that I'm using a super low quality ninja blade. Right, a little bit of an oversight there. Plan: strip them of their gear, strip them of their weapons, strip them of their medikits, and then if they get back up, they can't fight very well, they can go down quicker, they can't cause as much damage, and they can't heal. So over time, we are going to build a decent enough advantage against them. Operation Liberate Dexter is a go. Real simple. We've run in with Peter, we've picked up Dexter, and then we're running back out of Squin. If we can get Dexter out of the combat for a decent amount of time, not a crazy amount of time, but a acceptable amount, Dexter's going to heal up super quick. And then as we bait more Shek out, we are going to have Dexter being able to nom them. We'll have Peter taunting them. They'll be aggroing onto Peter. Dexter comes in from behind and just like noms off their legs and arms. And then they're not going to be able to fight as well. The bleed damage that Dexter can kick out is insane. Peter is going to be able to fend off a couple Invincibles or a couple 100 Guardians by himself. That's not going to be a massive issue. Just finishing them off is where he comes a bit short. He just doesn't have the armor penetration that's needed to get through their kit. But Dexter, yet again, doesn't really have the armor penetration, but he's got crazy high bleed damage, very high attack speed, and he does a lot of damage. So even if you have really high toughness, really high armor, he's still getting damage coming through at about 30 points. Which isn't a massive amount, but considering what Pete is kicking through, and earlier he was only kicking out 3 or 4 damage a hit, yeah, that's not great. But 30 is a lot better than that. I think this is one of the few times I have been happy to see a little nom nom boy coming into the fight. So what they will do, the process units, is anyone that is knocked down, dead, dying, or anything along those lines, even unconscious, they just come in and start eating them, which means that people die, which is super useful. And one of two things can happen on this. Either the process unit is left alone and then just eats the Shek that we knock down, so that's an easy way to take them out of the fight. Or the other side is the Shek are going to get annoyed that this guy is chomping on one of their friends and then attack it, which means that the skeleton Zoltans are going to get involved, same with the process units, which is going to give us a bit of advantage. The guys that we have imprisoned at the moment, we're going to get to start picking the locks, and then once we're in a good situation, we'll bust everyone out of jail at the same time, and then we can start wrecking some more havoc against the Shek, and hopefully pull back out of Squin, isolate their numbers, defeat in detail, that fun stuff, and we win. Peter was able to knock down the Sheks that were outside. 2 of them were Invincibles and the others were 100 Guardians. So that is 3 of the 5 Invincibles now who are unarmoured and unarmed, which put us in a pretty sweet situation, and that process unit is cracking on with nomming on their bodies. Dexter is back up, but we want to keep Dexter out of the fight for a while, because when he gets beaten up it goes into negative, which is why obviously he goes unconscious. But if we can get it higher up, then proportionate to the time that he's down, he'll be up longer. But right now we do have a 100 Guardian by themselves, who is now down, taking out some dust bandits, so we are securing the outside of the town. Alright, there's a 5 Invincible, that's 4 of the 5 Invincibles down, and like I said, there is a lot more than 5 of them at the moment, but details, every one that we can take down is an advantage that we can build on. The Shek have finished up healing up, unfortunately, which means they are now focusing on capturing our guys, which is a slight issue for 2 reasons. Firstly, they steal the weapons off your characters, which means we're going to have to go around and get them back. Not a massive problem, but a little bit annoying. And then the other main issue with the whole thing is they've finished healing each other, which means the longer we take, the more Shek are going to end up getting back into the fight. Thankfully, the more damage something is, the lower their stats are, which means obviously fighting weaker things is easier than fighting things on full health, but at the same time we are taking a lot of damage as well. And it seems that the Shek, when they're carrying, the prisoners seem less interested in actually defending themselves, which is good. We're getting a bunch of free damage off. The Dark Hive are now coming in. This could be quite interesting, because obviously we need to attack the Dark Hive because we are the Holy Nation and they're dirty bugmen and they need to be killed. Alternatively, the Shek love fighting the Dark Hive. So if we leave the Dark Hive alone for long enough, they're going to get into the fight with the Shek, and the Shek are going to kill them anyway, but tie up a few of the Shek, cause a bunch of damage. So I think, as far as Okran would be concerned, that is a fair use. We do need the time to regain our equipment because these Sheks are just loaded up with our kit, and our kit is better than the stuff that the Shek are using, which means that if we're not careful, we're going to end up fighting a bunch of Shek that are firstly going to be better at fighting because of the experience they're going to have picked up, and they're also going to be using better equipment, which isn't good for us. So we need to hunt down these Shek, take them out, and if it means sacrificing a few bug men or not purging them ourselves, I think that is going to be a good trade. Most of the kit has been reclaimed, but we are missing a couple people's worth of kit. A nice thing that's happened, we busted GNU out of jail. She picked the lock, she's very handy like that, and is now out. But Seta has gone and chased GNU down. So we have Peter, we have Dexter, and we have GNU all in one spot. And we are fighting, it looks like just 200 Guardians and Seta. No, they're 5 Invincibles. Okay, so it's 2 5 Invincibles and Seta, which should be a fight that we can just about take. And if we can knock Seta down, well, that is the main point of this attack. And what we'll do is we'll do the little sneaky snatch and grab. As soon as Seta goes down, which he is now, and we think we are in a situation to disengage, we are just going to pick Seta up. Not sacrifice the adventurer squad, but the adventurer squad is going to stay within Squin just to buy Peter enough time to be able to get out and drop Seta off to the High Lord Phoenix. We'll get all the perks that we get from that, then hand her in, get a bunch of money, get some relation with the Holy Nation, and from that we're going to be able to pick up a couple patrols on the way back, so we're going to be able to bring in Holy Nation reinforcements to take down the rest of the Shek. Because at the moment we're not winning. It's safe to say we've achieved our objective of getting Seta, but we still need to get her up to Bad Teeth. From Bad Teeth we can hand her in, do all of those good things that we said about earlier, then come back, finish off Squin, see what happens to the town. I'm not sure if it goes over to the Holy Nation, United Cities, or Carl's Chosen. If it goes over to Carl's Chosen, well then naturally we have to go in and kill them off because they are Shek as well. So the Holy Nation will not be safe and sacred until all of the Shek are dead and defeated. From there we got the Flotsam Ninjas and the United Cities to take out. The United Cities is going to be our toughest challenge in this playthrough. They are super dangerous. Their guys are very well equipped, very well trained, and they also have a bunch of different people for different styles of fighting, whereas the Shek are pretty much all just berserkers. Big heavy weapons and not much armour, other than the 100 Guardians and then the 5 Invincibles. But even then they're just big heavy weapons. So you go in with high dexterity, high speed attack weapons, and you are going to hopefully come out on top. We're not doing amazing right now, but we could be doing a lot worse. Once again, we are pulling Dexter back out of the town, and then once GNU's up, GNU is going to go out and join Dexter as well, and hopefully Midnight will wake up and then we can get Midnight out as well. With the 3 of them out of Squin, they are going to be able to start putting some pressure back onto the town, picking off stragglers, making sure people don't get back up, but always being in a situation where they're not going to be outnumbered. This should sort us out. GNU is making a break for it as well. She should be able to get close enough to Dexter for Dexter to be able to come in and give her a hand. There is only what looks like 1 Invincible chasing her, so hopefully if we just keep juking, she'll be out the way. Then a second one's coming in, but he has no armour or weapons, so not a massive issue. Once we're far enough away from town, even if GNU does get knocked down, she is not going to be kidnapped by the Shek and dragged back in. So we have 2 out of the 3 that we need. And then from here we are going to slowly be able to cause a decent amount of damage. It's not going to be enough to take the town, but it's going to keep some pressure on it, stop them from healing up too much, stop them from basically being refreshed for once Peter comes back. The mercenary shows are now in production as well, so we have a couple of them, and they are a decent bit of kit. 74% cut resist, which is actually crazy. Oversight again, Peter's already starving because he's Juggernaut and eats a crazy amount. Just bumped into a Holy Nation patrol and they go, "Holy brother, don't you have any food?" And then gave us some bread, which is pretty cool, seeing as Juggernauts eat a crazy amount of food. So sometimes actually working with the Holy Nation is kind of fun. They're always happy to see you, they bandage you up, they feed you, always come in to help you because they literally hate everything in the game. So if you're fighting something, you can guarantee if the Holy Nation patrol sees they're piling in, they can be kind of fun to get along with. But what I am interested in is basically Seta's crown I think that would be a nice addition for GNU, seeing as I do believe it was GNU that took Seta down. So it's just like, well, you took down the queen of the Shek, you can have her crown. I think that's fair. Do need to stop by the backpackers so we can get a rucksack so we can move some of the kit around. Also means we're going to be able to strip most of the stuff off Seta. Then with that stuff stripped off, we're going to be able to sell it, keep the bits that we want, and then also if we move everything across into the rucksack, Pete is going to be able to move quicker, and if you can move quicker, that means we're going to be able to get back to that fight nice and quick. But we are expecting the High Lord Phoenix to give us a bunch of stuff, so we're going to need some space in our inventory so that we can take all of the goodies he is going to give us. Holy brother Peter the Hermit, how you ever managed to take down the stone golem, I'll never know. That's because you weren't there, bro. You were not there. Only a couple steps away from being able to hand the stone golem in to the High Lord Phoenix, which is going to get us a whole bunch of money, a whole bunch of relation, and a bunch of perks. One of them being the seal, and what the seal does is it means if you talk to one of the Holy Nation patrols, they will follow you around for like 24 hours or something. And also if you're just in Holy Nation territory running around, they will follow you as well. So the High Lord Phoenix is saying, thank you very much for killing the stone golem. That's very impressive. And then something about wanting to give us a cuddle. And he smells like pungent vegetables apparently. And then some other stuff about putting a thumb on our forehead, saying that we're Oaken's chosen, and all of that fun stuff, which we're not actually all that interested in. What we are interested in is payment, and then getting the perk so we can get all of the extra Holy Nations following us, so we can go and start wrecking the last of the Shek holdouts. Kenshi has just crashed on me, and this is an Iron Man playthrough, so we save at the end of the episode. That's the only time I save throughout the recording, so we have lost all the progress up to this point. So I'm going to have to go back and try to do everything as close to possible as we can, so we end up in this situation, which isn't all that difficult. All the situation is we've got Seta to the stone golem and nobody's dead. Other than that, pretty much everything can stay the same. Right. I need to give this some thought. So anyway, thank you for watching episode 22 of Rise of the Holy Nation. All your likes, comments, sub support have been amazing. You guys are awesome, and I'll catch you on the next one.